One. Hello.
Hello. Happy Sunday.
Happy Sunday shift. Make sure to like, share, subscribe, tell a friend to tell a friend. Thanks for joining us here on your Sunday. As Jay-Z would say, you could be anywhere in the world, but you're here with us. Uh,
Jay-Z said that first?
yeah, or maybe somebody
Oh,
else, but I know it from Jay-Z, so
okay.
could be plagiarizing. Sorry about that. Whoever said it
Yeah.
first. I was also listening to Jay-Z before we came on, so I was really like, yeah, of course Jay-Z said it. Um, if you want to buy us a coffee, you can. That link will be in the description. Thank you so much, Janice, for always being so kind and loving and lovely to us. I finally got enough money to like actually buy a panel ticket to one of the things at the I can't talk today. The
He's
GH
fan
Fan Club
fest.
weekend. Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, I'm excited for that. Also merch. Tanya has on the shirt. Show it off, Tanya. It's so cute.
Yeah.
And it's like obviously popping with her curls. And then I got so I showed y'all we showed y'all a mug last week, but I got a commuter mug. It's all on our thing. So it's my T is on the mug. It says with Tracy and Tanya on the back. So merch is cute. Hit it up. Yeah. We got me and Tara designed like a joint Sunday shift Port Misery one that we're gonna give to Dom because we're gonna go to his event. So, Dom, you gotta make him take a selfie with it. Um,
That would be
yeah,
awesome.
yeah. How was your weekend? Or weekend? What weekend? Ooh, I'm
Week
gonna get
was
it
all
together, y'all.
week was all right. It was just, just so. I what have I been watching? I've been watching The Good Wife. Here's the thing. I have been using Chat GPT as my thesaurus um
Tanya, it's so
decorator.
bad for the environment. Just hit me up.
As my thesaurus, my I know, but it's just weird how AI has just like totally evolved to the
It's
point where
scary.
my AI knows me and knows how to respond. It is super encouraging. It's a little scary. But
Very.
I've been watching The Good Wife, and they have some really technical, lawyer terms that I don't know. And at first I would just Google, but then Google now has this AI thing. And so I just kind of like everything is just AI. And it's just
Yeah.
like, so, it's just kind of comes in as the friend that when no one else is available, like at
That
midnight.
scares me. That's
I
very
know.
Black Mirror. It's very Black Mirror episode. But I hear you. I have been watching Love Island. I am all
Uh-huh.
caught up on the Love Island USA. If you want to
Yeah,
talk to me, just DM me because I'm ready to
right.
talk about it. Nicolandria Hive, we're up, then we're down. I feel like we're back. We're gonna get back up. So DM me about Love Island USA. I'm happy to always talk about it. Yeah, that's what I've done. And then I've been working and I have I'm really excited because at the end of July, I'm going with my family. We're going to Vegas. And so me and my sister and some friends are going to see Beyonce. So I'm just really trying to get my life in order for that. And then immediately the next weekend is the fan club weekend. And I
Mhm.
promise y'all the only reason I'm able to do it is one, because I'm like, well, who knows what's happening in the world? Might as well go on the trips. Um, but also, yeah, points. Shout out to points always. So
Yeah.
that's my
My
life.
my brother's actually coming that week, the end of July. So you'll be in Vegas. We'll be familying it
Yeah,
that weekend. So
yeah.
yeah.
Whole family. My nephew, he is so cute. He's 3. I have lots of nephews, but
Mhm.
he's 3, and he is obsessed with my mother. He walked into her house and he goes, Nana, don't worry, your baby's here. Where did these kids come from?
They're wild. I'm like, I'd be like, because, I'd be territorial and be like, I'm sorry, I was the first. You just coming in.
Yeah.
I adore you, nephew, but no, I'm the baby.
Yeah. No, everybody is his. I'm his TT, everybody's his cousins, his
Okay.
whatever. So yeah. And I'm okay with
Nice.
that. All right, let's hop into the show. There is lots to talk about, and I want to talk about it this week. Mm.
Okay.
Who was your performer of the week?
I'd say I only got well, I got two, I guess.
Okay.
Rory, his scene with Willow,
Oh, so good.
I it was so good, and I just realized Rory is like me. I am a angry crier. When I get angry, I
Mm,
cry instead of yell or anything like that. It's like something, and I hate it, but he's used it to good use. Uh, and so
yes.
when he showed a lot of emotion in those scenes and it was great. And so some people on social media are saying like he and Kate McCullen have so much chemistry, and it is kind of true, but I don't want to see him and Michael Willow
No,
back together.
no.
But it's like it's wild how good they are together. And
Yeah,
so that's great. Also, Jane Elliott, man, she's
always the
amazing.
goat.
Goat, amazing. And I love the scenes that she had this week. So yay! Those are my two.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, same. Jade Elliott always, forever, in
Yeah.
perpetuity. You are, performer of the week until you're no longer on the show, and we don't want that to happen anytime soon.
Right.
Um, and then for Rory, I subscribed to Steve and Bradford's Patreon because they have a free tier. And so they dropped an interview they did with Rory
Mhm.
early.
Oh, they did.
And it was really good. He just seems so like down to earth and grounded. Learned a little bit more about his life. But what I found really interesting was him talking about like being nervous to take on the role of Michael. Because
Mhm.
GH, we act a fool on some recast. And so and Chad has been Michael for 15 years, and that's the Michael
Mhm.
that we know.
Mhm.
And he said, at first he didn't check social media because he was like didn't want to like be see like negative stuff, and then his friends and family was like, no, 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 you should check it, you should check it. And then he was like, he also didn't want to get high on his own supply kind of thing, which I thought was cute. But yeah, I mean, I said that to say he was nervous. Rory had nothing to be nervous about. He stepped in. And immediately, Michael immediately did his thing, immediately accepted by fans and loved by fans because he is so talented and because he
Mhm.
really did seem to put some care into the role. And so I have just been so pleased by him. I think that we've called him performer of the week every week that he's been on. I mean, he was very lucky to step into a story that we all were waiting for, but it was like
Mhm.
right actor, right story combo that really got Rory to where he is to continue to be performer of the week. So I'm excited for more Michael.
Yeah, I am too. It's been great. And I wanted to comment because I think Chad Dooley, he did a live of some sort, and he
Yeah.
was commenting on Rory and said something about giving him grace and stuff and like that. But some people were commenting that he said something about Rory coming in and having a little bit more time in between when Chad left and when he began. And a lot of people were, because he said when he came in, he didn't have that. And
Right.
so people were like trying to say that he was, throwing some shade at Rory. And I didn't see it that way. I just thought it
No,
was
I didn't
just a
say that
matter of,
either.
yeah, it was just kind of a matter of fact of what the situation is. Rory's doing a great job. And I thought Chad did a good job for when he was there, but now Rory's
Yeah.
just bringing a little bit of different energy, and people
Right.
people were excited. So,
Yeah.
I'm happy for both actors. I mean, Chad is doing something new. He's doing, spreading his wings out, and, good luck to him and happy for him. But also really glad that we got Rory in. He's amazing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
I don't think it was I didn't see the chatter around it.
Uh-huh.
But this is a role he owned for 15 years. And
Yeah.
I imagine that it is even though it was his choice, it's a tough goodbye. He still
Mm-hmm.
cares about people who are there.
Mm-hmm.
And fans of his really want to see what he's doing and make sure he's okay. And now this is a different medium than, and even with some TV and movies, people get really attached. But with soaps, it's like such a different medium because, I'm talking about we're going to fan club weekends. Eventually, me and Tanya
Mm-hmm.
will find one that we can go to that I don't know. It's maybe not as expensive or something,
Right.
but like you could actually like touch folks and like
Mm-hmm.
when you are a fan of these people, it really is like a closer relationship. Some of them
Yeah.
have like Patreons that you can like be a part of. Some of them have what are the videos that people are doing? I saw that Laura Wright was
Cameos.
doing them, cameos.
Cameos. Yeah.
So it is like a closer relationship, and so people are going to be more curious about what you're doing. So
Mm-hmm.
I didn't take it as shade.
Yeah.
Um, it didn't feel that way to me, but I think we should focus on the drama that's on the screen because we got a lot of it, and just leave it at that. You know what I mean?
Right.
Let's get into the drama. I want to start with Drew's press conference. So we kind of heard last week, and I think you actually really called it because
Mm-hmm.
Michael had mentioned, that the drug that Drew took, ketamine, is also a horse drug, and it was like,
Mm-hmm.
okay, put that in the pocket.
Right.
So go to the press conference, and Drew and Martin are antagonizing Tracy.
Mm-hmm. I
I
mean,
was like, huh,
they were not like they were gloating. It's not like
yeah.
they were grateful that Tracy was willing to come to a compromise. They were gloating. They were happy to see her come up, and I was so to the point where I am so happy it did not end up that way because it was just really kind of shameful. And I was actually surprised Martin was acting this way. But then again, I shouldn't be because he and Tracy have been at Juggernauts for a while. So, but just the kind of, glee in her downfall was what was like, I'm not surprised Drew did all that. But for me, it was a little jarring to see Martin be that way. But
It wasn't surprising because Martin Tracy is the reason that Martin was in jail. Tracy reached out to the ex-wives. Tracy so
oh
I wasn't surprised
yes.
at all about him. But I mean Martin is the reason Martin was in jail, but you know. So
I guess I felt I had more expectations of his character in that than, even though I shouldn't have because, he's willing to, fleece his wives and, he's done a little, I guess he has done some shady stuff, but I don't know. I
I mean,
just
but
felt,
also I
yeah.
think for me,
Hmm.
Drew is like slimy and nasty.
Yeah,
Martin is
Drew.
like it's like tennis. Like, okay,
Yeah,
they're volleying. So I'm not as mad at Martin as I am at Drew because I get Martin.
right.
We still don't
Oh yeah,
understand what Drew is doing or why. And maybe they've told us, but it's not substantial enough to make up for what we're seeing from Drew.
right.
So
Exactly.
anyhow, they're at this press conference. Drew goes up and is like talking mess. He's
Mad
like,
mess.
he's just like, my aunt makes mistakes. What is it? 700? Like it was just like, okay, Drew.
Yeah, seven or eight
Yeah.
marriages you had.
So Tracy gets up there. Brooklyn had come. Chase is there. All the things. Kai's there. Um, and when Tracy goes up there, she's just like, you know what? I can't do this. Not only did I not do this, but Drew out here taking drugs, and if you want to know more about it, his stepmama kicked him out the house. We have never heard them refer to Monica as a stepmother. That was interesting. The stepmama took him out kicked him out the house. He slept with his nephew's wife. Like Tracy just let it all hang out. I have watched it so many times with so much glee.
What was hilarious is even before she came out and was just like, I can't do this, she could not say his name as Quartermaine.
Yeah,
She's like, "Qu- qu- I can't do it." So it's
no.
like, It was crazy. Like the idea of linking his name to the Quartermaine name was just too
Nope,
much for her. She
nope,
couldn't get past it. So that
nope.
was hilarious. It was
And
great.
I and that's real about like the Quartermaines go to war with each other. It's over business.
Right.
Drew stuff, personal, it's different, and this is why they're having this tough
Hmm.
time with like the name thing with him.
Right.
So the press conference erupts. I had like taken the screenshot of like the black woman reporter sitting next to Tracy. I was like, this queen is giving everything that she needs to give. I wish that could have been my walk-on role, but that was my other performer of the week. She was really giving.
I need to rewatch that because I wasn't even really paying attention to that. It was all eyes on Tracy for me. But yeah, I'll
I
rewatch.
loved her. It was amazing. And so in all of that, Kai like has the wherewithal to like move Drew out of the way so he's not necessarily on camera. And then Martin is going toe to toe with Tracy. Out of nowhere, here comes your fave. You're not fave, Cody.
Hmm.
And it looked like Cody was going to I mean, we knew because we kind of you kind of called it, but it looked like he was about to like say something weird. He's like, I can't let Tracy say these things about Drew. Da 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 da. They were like, okay, speak. And then he was like, oh yeah, I bought the ketamine for the horse, whatever. I also love that Cody started with, I still don't like Drew.
Right. I just want to make it perfectly clear I'm not a fan of Drew and I didn't even vote for him. Okay.
Mm, I don't think Cody's a voter. And if he is, I don't think we want him to know who he
Right.
votes for. But I but anyway, um, so he has this like receipt. Tracy is like, give that to me. I'm gonna give it to my lawyer. Martin lunges for it and falls off the stage.
Which is crazy.
So as this commotion is happening, what are you thinking?
It was very dramatic. And I was just like, I was ready to go off on Cody because I'm just
Yes.
like, oh
Hmm.
God, please, please do not be on the same side as Drew. That would be
Hmm.
like the worst. But luckily he didn't do that. Um, I don't know how he always ends up in the mix, but whatever. So he was able to kind of exonerate Tracy. And so he kind of saved the day a little bit. I still don't like him, but I appreciate the role that he played in the Quartermaine shenanigans. And yes, I am glad Michael did have a role in this because it just felt like odd to me that he wasn't really doing anything other than, you know, working against Drew on a personal level. I felt like he's going to do everything he can to take Drew down and being able to help Tracy with this mess is super important to me. So I was really happy that that was the case. It was, I thought the scene was really great. I think it's part of one of the things that makes GH really great is just having like some sort of kind of wild comedic scene happening
Hmm.
amongst all the drama. And this was
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Michael E. Knight. Yeah, I guess I should give him props too because of the physical comedy that he had in there. It was awesome. Yeah, so it was great.
Yeah. Like him and Jane Elliott are both so funny. I mean, this is
Hmm.
just another example of how great the GH actors are. That this
Yeah,
could have been a mess. This could have been something that wasn't as entertaining to watch, but they just really elevate the material.
right.
So, so funny.
It could have been
And
just like a boring press
yeah, or
conference
like
if they
really
had.
slapstick in a way that
Yeah,
wasn't entertaining.
yeah,
Yeah.
but they pulled it off. It was really
Yeah.
great.
And so Tracy's talking to Brooklyn and is like lets it slip that or not slip but tells her that this was Michael's idea and like says like this is what real Quartermaines do. And
Right.
I thought that was really key. Like, yep, Drew, not a real Quartermaine.
Mm-mm.
And then Brooklyn is like, you owe Cody. And Chase kind of is there to like take the statement and kind of was like, yeah, I bet you don't have the receipt. So done with the Quartermaine piece, we get into the room with Drew and Martin. Now, I do agree and Drew, Martin, and Kai. Now, I do
Hmm.
agree in some respects that Martin should have seen this coming, but in
Hmm.
the same respects, I'm also like Drew. You literally antagonized her as she walked
Right.
up to the stage,
Right. Yeah. I mean, he was just being really bitchy and catty.
and he did frame her. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah, he did frame her. So,
you know. So Martin leaves, goes to the hospital. We'll come back to that. Let's take a bit of that. And Drew and Kai are talking.
yeah,
So
Kai is done.
yeah, he's cooked. It's
He,
over.
it's over.
So
Yeah.
he is talking to Drew, and Drew's like this whole thing, like, oh my God, it's poor me, and it's gonna be so bad for Willow, and I can't do these things for my constituents. Okay, all we've seen Drew for his constituents is negative work. We have seen him like try to bulldoze dead bodies. We have
Right.
seen him like just do nothing. We haven't even seen him in DC. Drew,
Right.
when is the vote, bruh? What is going on?
Actually, well, yeah. I mean, the only good thing that I've seen Drew do was that whole sports program in the hospital. I don't even know what it is really, but apparently that's something that he did that was good. Other than that, he has not voted. He's caused chaos with this whole esplanade shenanigans. He's not a good elected official, and he's full of drama, and he has scandal. He's horrible. And he's like
Yeah,
he's worse than the city council person.
yeah,
So
it's terrible. He's
terrible.
even the thing with the hospital. I'm like, is that federal?
No, it's more
Anyway,
of a yeah, it's more of
no,
a local constituent services thing, but it has
right. But
nothing
I'm
to do with
saying
the job.
that.
Right.
Okay. So anyway, Kai is like watching Drew spiral, like realizing that Willow might not be having her kids, all these things. And so Kai tells Drew that Curtis is looking for Jacinda, the
Mhm.
sex worker, to come back and frame Drew for the ketamine.
Traitor. That's just traitor behavior. He is done. How you just gonna like even if you wanted to help Drew out, I don't know why anyone would want to do this. Why would you rat out your girlfriend's dad?
Right.
That's just so wrong. And cut him off. We were actually, everybody is not really all that enthused about Kai as a boyfriend anyway. Maybe the writers are seeing it, seeing the negative feedback, and it's just like, okay, well, Kai's probably over. Kai and Trina are probably over now. Let's figure out how a good exit, because that's the exit. I mean, the fact that you betrayed your girlfriend, that's horrible. And if Trina finds out, that's it. You're
It's over.
done. It's over. So he's now become the traitor in the mall.
So, okay, I think about this, and so I think about this because I really want to dissect this. I've thought about this in many ways. So someone who I follow, or like mutuals on Twitter, tweeted something like, "Every scene that we have seen of Trina is that she has been concerned for Kai.
Right.
The first time there looked like some kind of trouble, Kai threw her whole family under the bus. That's a
Hmm.
horrible visual. So that's first of
Right.
all. So I had tweeted something like this feels like cultural incompetence on the writer's behalf because we've been complaining for a while. Where's Kai's family? Like we ain't heard
Hmm.
him FaceTime a mama, a cousin, an uncle, a auntie, nobody.
Right.
And so I said betraying like all of the black people that you know for a shady white congressman, it like having this character do that without more motivation was cultural incompetence. Because for me, over and over, we've talked about this before. I'm not necessarily even mad when things happen. I think that if you make something happen, you have to give us the reasoning behind it happening.
Right.
So say if y'all would have told us that, Kai, the only way he was going to be able to take care of his family, because he was like a downtrodden Tyler Perry character or something, was by like going to play football. And then he couldn't have football. And so the next thing he saw was, like, okay, I can do this politics thing. And then we could maybe hear him talking to a parent or somebody from back home, like, okay, great, you couldn't do this football thing, but we can make it, just like that very like blindside bullshit, whatever it is,
Right.
like, that would be motivation. So we would be mad that it happened, but it would be a little bit more understandable.
Yeah.
Drew has done nothing, like even the nice things that Drew has done for Kai, everybody has told him this is for PR. It is not that this man likes you. And so I'm not even saying that Kai couldn't have taken these nice things, but to write him as so naive and to be like, well, I got to make my own decisions about this man. That's not how Black people operate. And like people, a couple people, most people agreed to me. A couple people were like, you're being racist. You're bringing race into it. I'm bringing cultural context because when we see us, we want to see the cultural context. If
Hmm.
we watch a, if like people who are like if Asian people watch a show and people walk into their house and like you see shoes on, people who are not part of that culture will be like won't even think anything of it. But people who are within that culture will be like, why they got their shoes on in this house? Because it's a cultural thing. For
Hmm.
us, there are books written about it, like about how Black people congregate, how we create community. There's no way that you would not create community with these Black people that they literally invited you to the cookout, Kai. Literally invited you to the cookout. And then the first chance that you have, you completely betray them and you don't know anything about the situation because you hear like Curtis say that Portia's in trouble.
Hmm.
You have not known these people to be shady or rude or mean. All you've known is them having beef with Drew, who has beef with his actual family. So why would you think that Drew was not some sort of shady, as opposed to thinking that you should select the Black characters who have been nothing but nice to you, coupling that with the fact that that's your girlfriend's family?
Hmm.
Am I
I
off here?
No, I think you're right. And I also think, just in general, it's just horrible. They have been writing Kai in such a way that he's almost like a throwaway character. Like,
Yes.
we don't see his family, we don't really know his history, so we don't care about him in that way. He's kind of like a one note person, like he only cares
Yeah.
about football, so we don't care about that either.
Right.
And now, I mean, and then also the technicality of his surgery being like very fast. He recovers very fast. He has no scars. There's no emotional tie into the surgery. And then
Hmm.
now he's easily throwing away his relationship with Trina, the only person that has been in support of him throughout the whole thing. And
Right.
so it's like it's almost an insult to how they, well, yeah, I mean, generally how they have treated Black characters, Black male
Hmm.
characters, as if they're kind of throwaway. The only Black male character that gets some measure of respect is Curtis.
Right.
And, I'm really scared for Isaiah too, because in a sense,
Yep.
we don't have, again, he doesn't have the family. There's an easy way to give him history, to give him legacy by tying him with the Gannons and One Life to Live. It seems
Yeah.
like that's what the producer likes to do anyway. He throws in
Right.
One Life to Live almost every other chance he can get. He can
Hmm.
easily tie him to the Gannons in that way. But yet Isaiah is still like this unknown person
Right. Right.
in on the scene. And so the way they've treated Kai, I'm really concerned because Kai is now an enemy of Trina. The only thing that anchors him to the show, he's now made himself an enemy of. And so
Right.
it's really sad. But yeah, cultural competency for real. I mean, Black people as a culture, we're just very particular about certain things.
Hmm.
And to say that we don't have certain cultural markers is ridiculous. And
Right.
so when we say that we would not just throw away the only Black people that we know for basically this white dude who just throws money at everything, it's true, we wouldn't. And so it's really crazy that they're writing Kai like this.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's really sad. But then at the end, the fact that they really kind of threw away Ken Schreiner,
True.
like just
Yeah.
that way, just threw his character away after he's had such longevity on the show. They don't really care about anything that has anything to do with legacy, and that's kind of sad. Real Andrews, he is such an amazing Ken Schreiner, obviously white, but getting back to the Black culture and Black people on GH, how they threw away Real Andrews, crazy. Yeah, and we have
Taj.
any, yeah, Taj. Oh, so yeah, GH has a lot to learn about how to treat Black men actors. They
Yeah.
really lucked out with Hat Daddy. Hat Daddy is an amazing actor, but they don't treat him well either. So it's
No.
just like, what are they doing? And so, yeah, very disrespectful.
I will also say that I think, for me, I'm looking at the way they're treating these characters,
Hmm.
and it is about like people were not necessarily all in for Kai and Trina, but that's because she's coming off a pairing that people liked,
Hmm.
and you actually have to make the next pairing likable. You have to
Right.
give them something that is good. Because look at, I keep talking about, look at the way that like Emma and Gio's characters were turned around. People weren't all for them.
Right.
It was like good performances, a good story that they got put into that made people turn around for them. They have not done that for Kaya. They have not done that for Trina. So
Hmm.
now what I'm seeing is, if you look at it, I don't know if they're going to bring Spencer back
Right.
because Spencer's a really tough character to bring back. There are no other Cassidines on the show, so unless they make Sidwell a Cassidine, there are no other
Hmm.
Cassidines on the show.
Right.
And it's a big gamble to bring back somebody to fill Nicholas Chavez's shoes because they would rather have a like every recast is not Rory Gibson.
Right.
So you have had Trina, okay, people hated her with Rory the character because that was a bad story, and people wanted
Right.
Sprina. So she had Sprina, he dies off. Now she's with Kai. So they're going to like, I am worried for her that they're going to say that she is the issue. You know what I'm saying? That people
Yeah.
only want her with Spencer, but that only works if Spencer is Nicholas Chavez, not if it's a recast Spencer. So
Mhm.
for me, it also is like throwing her to the wayside because she's done nothing but like talk up this character for months. Even so, she called Curtis and was like, I need you to come talk to me. And at the same time that Kai is betraying her, she's telling him that Kai would never.
Yeah, that stings a lot because she's defending him left and right, and he's just willing to throw her family on the bus just like
Yeah,
that. Um, I want to go back to the Ken Schreiner thing because there's a reason why I brought him up, and some people might be like, "Why is she bringing up Ken Schreiner?" The reason why I'm bringing him up is because they put Kai's actor in Ken
yeah,
Schreiner's dressing room, and
right.
so they did all this and disrespecting Ken Schreiner for a character that they really don't care about. So that's why I brought it up together.
Yeah. For a character that it feels difficult to invest because the other thing,
Yeah.
and this can actually like transition us into Willow,
All
because we're gonna
right.
come back to Black Hospital too. But Drew has not Drew is not someone who should be treated this way. He does not
Right.
deserve the loyalty that these other characters have for him. So it's like
Hmm.
now he got two members of Dawn of Drew. We as an audience know that Drew ain't, he ain't right. We know that.
Right.
I'm trying to swear less, but you know what I wanted to say.
Yeah.
We know who Drew is. So to watch these other characters, it actually like damages them
Mm-hmm.
to be so blindly loyal to him. And Kai doesn't have any leg to stand on. Nobody cared about the football stuff. And I try not to have like a nobody cares or nobody because I don't know everybody. I have seen no corner of the internet that cared about that football stuff because football is not even popular at on GH.
Mm-hmm.
He wasn't even a baseball player. You
Mm-hmm.
know what I mean? Like football's not popular on GH. Nobody cared about that story. As Tara would say, he came up from a cabbage patch. No family, nothing that brings him to the show, nothing that like grounds him. And
Mm-hmm.
then immediately you throw him in and like tie him deeply to the shadiest character on the canvas. So now you got Willow, who like creep shows up to Michael's house to like talk to him, and it really did feel like Michael was trying to soften on her.
Oh yeah, at first until
Michael has been soft on her because the
right.
thing is, no matter what people say about Michael, Michael has always been a good dad.
Mm-hmm.
He has always cared about his kids. He has always put his kids like first. Even if you remember when he found out Wiley was his after being a really great godfather, when he found out Wiley was his, he immediately took out off time for from ELQ.
Not just
So
like even as a good father, he's just a good person in general, right?
mhm.
He felt sorry for Willow when she lost the kids. He
Yeah,
feels guilty that Willow is not part of the family anymore. Like he's about to have this big old Christian,
Kristen.
ceremony,
Mhm.
christening, and she's not part of it. He feels bad for Willow as a person, not even
Yeah,
just
of
as
course.
the mother of his kids. So he's just a good
Yeah.
person in general.
Hmm.
He may, when he gets mad, he's going to get his revenge, but he's not an inherently evil or mean person like Drew. But go ahead
Exactly.
with your thought.
No, exactly. No,
Yes.
that's exactly right.
Mm-hmm.
So Willow shows up to the house and she tells Michael, we need to be honest with each other, whatever, whatever. And it's interesting that now it's like, oh, we both need to be in these kids' lives. We need to do this. When you were trying your hardest, you're trying your level best to kick Michael out of these babies' lives.
Mm-hmm.
These was gonna be you and Drew's kids. You was gonna raise them with Scout, and Michael could see them every other
Two
weekend on the
weekends.
holiday. Like, come on,
Right.
this is what you was gonna do. So
Right.
now when you gotta face it, you're like, oh my God, how could this happen? Which is why I actually hate the twist of Sidwell having anything to do with it because she lost some kids on her own.
Right. Which
So
yeah, exactly. Even the one thing where we felt that Michael should have won it outright, like he should have gotten his way, he didn't get his way. And when
right,
she said something, I know you were used to getting your way all the time. I'm like, when has Michael essentially gotten his way? He's had to fight for the ability to be the ED of EOQ. He's had to fight for any kind of like peace for his family, for his kids. That man,
hmm,
that man grew up battle and in struggle. He was with the
right,
wrong family when Sonny was going through some really dangerous times in his job. He's had to fight his whole life. But yet,
right,
Willow seems to think that he's spoiled and he always gets his way. He's never had his way. And so for her to throw that in his face was just like real, like, it's almost like she's listening to what Drew is telling her and just
right,
repeating it to Michael instead of actually, you know, banking on what she knows of Michael, what she knows of him as a person. She's totally let that go as a wayside and now is
yeah,
accusing him of being something that he's not.
yeah. And so she goes and tells him that she's gonna get married. He is just like, you know what? You do that, you'll never see his kids again. She is just incensed. They have this like argument. Again, this is like if you haven't watched this, I know some people will listen to us and don't watch the show. Definitely go find these scenes. Masterclass from Rory Gibson and Katie McMillan. They did an amazing job together with these
Mm-hmm.
scenes. Um, and then as this is happening, we have Nina reaching out to Carly, which was so strange. She's like, I want to talk to you. Willow's marrying Drew. You need like Even when she says something like we need to talk, Kylie's like, no, Carly's like, no, we don't.
We really have
Like,
nothing else to say.
girl, you tried to bash my head in with a candle. We don't talk about nothing.
Right.
But she
Nina
she was
still feels
like,
like Nina feels still feels like they're partners in this.
I just so she was like, we need to like, talk Willow out of marrying Drew. And for me, I'm like, what do that got to do with Carly? Like,
Nothing.
Carly has already done everything that she could. She's actually also felt like a lot of sympathy and compassion for Willow, which is not Carly's MO. Normally, you hurt Michael, she ain't messing with you. But she's had so Carly was like, nah, she leaves. Nina calls Jason, and Jason actually was like moving a little bit. He was
Hmm.
like, yeah, you right, Drew.
What do
And
you
then
need me to do?
Willow comes up and is like, "Oh, you trying to threaten my mama? Pipe down,
And then
Willow."
Nina doesn't say anything. She doesn't
She never
correct it.
does. She never does. She never was like, "We just walked it, ran into each other." I asked Jason how the kids are. Nothing. She says
Right.
nothing. Nothing. She says nothing. And Willow again. And me and my mama, me and Drew finna get married. And Jason is like, Jason had me cracking up because the way he looked back at Nina, like, "Oh, for real? All right, girl. All right." Just
Okay, you're
okay.
like it
Because
she's
Willow
some
really
gay.
thought she would keep running up on mobsters. Girl, if you don't go sit down somewhere. But Jason was just like cool with it. Jason said, "You got it." That's a matter of fact, that's how I handle people online who come and be crazy. I'd be like, you know what, you got it. That was what Jason did. So I'll be channeling my inner Jason Morgan when people come and be wild. You got it. And yeah, Nina is just, I do think the show has done a better job because Tracy and Cody and Ned all know about Drew and Nina.
Yeah.
So the show has done a decent job of explaining why and Maxie and Sasha all know. So the
All
show's done a
right.
good job of like explaining why Nina hasn't said anything because like Willow be by herself, whatever, whatever. I don't. What do you like? Nobody else said anything. Cody, you going through all this and you ain't say, "Oh yeah, by the way, Judah slept with
Right.
Willow's mama."
Cody is not good with any kind of secret. Why hasn't he spilled this?
And don't tell me it's because you're trying to be quiet now. Nah, Cody,
Right.
speak up
Right.
or scratch
Yeah.
your tongue, Cody. Speak up. We need it. So
Yeah.
I am interested and excited. I do wonder if there is like gonna be some sort of big reveal at a Drillo wedding. Ugh, I do not want to see them go like Kai gonna be sitting there looking stupid next to Drew.
It's like
Yeah.
like a big
Uh,
reveal and then Trina dumping Kai, all of it. I want it all to happen.
yeah, it needs to get it out of here.
Hmm. Hmm.
Um, and let me just be controversial. Just couple up Trina and Joss. Anyway. Let's move on before people cancel me. Okay. Oh, because I also do want to say something. So, two things. One, there's like if you look at the top of the description of the show, you can like text us. So you look if there's something that you want to say or you want to like add the conversation, you can text us. And we might start doing like merch giveaways for people who text us the funniest thing and the best thing. But there are like people who can leave messages. I don't know how to check them on like Spotify. So I just so happened to look. And somebody said to us like they were surprised that we were kind of like a progressive podcast, but we had like a troublesome um take on like the age gap between Drew and Willow and that love is love and we shouldn't be judging age gaps. So I will say this: I do judge age gaps. I'm not that progressive. We all got our faults, our flaws, you know, our barriers. That's one of mine. Because it's not for me. It is not just age gap. And typically it normally
Yeah.
isn't. It is that Willow asked Drew to walk her down the aisle, so she looked at him as a father figure.
Mm,
And that as in addition to the age gap, Drew has been manipulating her. So it is like the manipulation of an older man to a younger woman. Now,
mm,
and that is not entertaining to me. Now we've seen it the other way where like a younger woman has taken power over an older man who was like trying to pay for things. That I'm more entertained by because it doesn't feel as gross to me.
mm.
Again, I'm not perfect. I'm so sorry. I'm very problematic.
Yeah, I think for
Um,
me, it's the familial thing more than the age gap because they were like family. And
mhm.
that's like that's more of an issue to me than if Willow cheated on Michael with an older man who's not
Yeah,
part of the family.
yeah,
That's different. So but yeah,
yeah,
like I'm saying, like it just in general, just because we have some progressive thoughts doesn't mean we're gonna be 100% progressive on everything. We're all
yeah,
human,
yeah.
you
And
know.
I'm not there yet. I don't know if I'll ever be there. Some things I don't want to get there on. This is one of them. But anyway, we'll see. We'll see how I feel one day. Um,
Okay.
Jordan and Portia, I am so interested in knowing what you think about this because I am 10 toes down on my girl with my girl, Portia.
Oh my
Um,
God. For the first time, I was like, yes, girl, tell him. Call
yes,
him out.
yes.
Yes.
So we have, but it's so Isaiah sees Portia, she's stressed out. He like, let's go to the pool, girl. So they go to the pool, and Portia walks in and she sees Curtis and Jordan going down memory lane. So tough, they don't even see Isaiah and Portia. So
Mhm.
Portia's like, oh, well, ain't this about a nothing, nothing? So they sit down, I'm trying to swear less. So, so they sit down and, Isaiah like, calm down, it's all good, whatever, whatever. This is when Curtis gets the call from Trina. He leaves. Isaiah leaves to go get the drinks. Portia run up on Jordan at the pool, like, so I see you with my man.
What's this all about? Why are you trying
What's
to, what you trying to do?
what's this? So here is my thing about Jordan. One, I hate that this is happening over Curtis. I think both
Mhm.
of them deserve better than Curtis. That let me start there.
Mhm.
But my other problem is that there is like this rewriting of the story, or like this, like, well, Portia was all up in my marriage, so this what she get. Jordan, this is nasty. We don't like this. So, um, she was getting slick with Portia because what I didn't really care for and what Jordan knew is be like, well, if y'all got problems, well, that's not what Portia said. So if you were saying to her that they have problems, that means that my husband has confided in you in a way that he should not have.
Mhm.
And it is not as if we are people who just see each other around. Jordan, you come to my home.
Mhm. To his office, to her home. She just be all up in the world. And she's like, well, I'm family because Curtis is,
TJ's
TJ's
uncle.
uncle. We haven't seen TJ in years. It's not like she sees him around TJ. So
TJ is not
I'm
a
like, yeah,
toddler that you share. He
right.
is not your baby daddy. This is not that kind of situation. What are we talking about?
But yeah,
I'm not trying to hear it. So anyway, I mean, of course, Jordan looked beautiful. Don't ever get that twisted.
right.
And Portia, like she said something, and Portia threw a drink in her face. And
I was
Isaiah,
like, I was like, oh no, she didn't. She better protect that hair.
right. And Isaiah very slowly actually like
He's
broke it
like,
up. I was like, Isaiah, you really didn't break nothing up.
Well, you know why? Because he explained it after. Because when he went to talk to Jordan, and he was like, are you serious? This is how you're gonna, you can't blame her because you were flirting with Curtis. I
With her
saw
husband. Mm.
it.
Yeah, Isaiah was kind of like, I mean, she not wrong. She ain't right, but
Right,
she ain't wrong. That's kind of what
right,
Isaiah was on.
right.
So this happens. Portia goes to see Curtis. And again, I really enjoyed this scene because I feel like Portia gets so little point of view, and I know that she's not a popular character, and some of that is
Right,
because she has so little point of view.
right.
So even with the like not telling like Trina him about Trina, all of these things, like she just never gets a point of view on all of these things. So for her to go to his office and to be like, look, let's hash this out. He's like, well, marriage, you can't lie. And she's like, yeah, but you can't end a marriage because you're mad. Like, are you trying to do this? Are you trying to help me because you want to like end our marriage and like have me be good? Or is this like working through our marriage? So I felt like
Mhm,
she made like really good points. Because the other thing that I think that keeps getting lost is that Portia lied to him about one piece of it, which never made sense. We always said that never made sense. She told him the bulk of the things. She told him about what Heather did. She told him about all of that. She didn't tell him about the Brad piece.
mhm.
And to her point, and Drew and Curtis have to, understand this. The reason that Drew was coming after her was because of her relationship to Curtis.
Yeah.
I thought that was
And
a
what
really good
Curtis
point too.
did.
Yeah.
And also the point that he has lied to her
Hmm.
about multiple things. She still don't even know about his relationship with Selena. Will.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that's true.
He has not told her about that. And he's like hinging it on that, her lies were a danger to the family. He's made so many decisions without her that's been a danger to the family that she don't even know about. He's like
Right.
the biggest hypocrite ever.
Yeah.
And she was right to call that out.
Yep. Yeah, because she was like, I don't want, whatever, I want understanding. And it sounds very hypocritical. Like she had the lines. I don't know who wrote
Yeah.
that, but they wrote that down. She was really giving it to him.
Mm,
So, and then before she could really give it to him, Jordan goes to see Anna as this is
hmm
happening to like kind of talk and be like, I can't stand Portia. And I get it. I understand soap rivalries. I understand everybody can't be friends. I get all of that. And this came out of nowhere. I don't feel bad for Portia. Nobody asked you to.
And she finally admitted though that she has feelings
Right.
still for Curtis. She admitted it
Right.
to herself because before it was just like we're just friends.
We're
No,
just friends. And Anna was
no, you
like,
ain't.
girl, you need to talk to him and figure it out.
Right.
Which I appreciate. I appreciate Anna just being like, look, this is messy, but you my girl. You just go figure it out.
Mhm.
So she walks in on Portia and Curtis about to make up, or somewhat make up. The look that Portia gave her, I said, oh, they letting Brooke come out her little shell because Brooke had not been getting much to do. So that is the one thing I kind of like about this because we know that
Mhm.
Tanisha and Brooke are gonna bring it every
Mhm.
time. Me being team Portia does not mean I don't still love Jordan. It does not mean I still don't love Tanisha, but I'm just, have been a Portia apologist for a long time, and this is another example. But yeah, I loved it. I thought it was, or I loved I hate what the drama is about. I loved the drama exist.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
Um, so we got Ava and Rick. I'm wondering if Christina's plan is working. So we have Rick getting caught up by dragonberry juice. Um
What did,
uh, Laura goes to see Ava. They're talking. Ava or Laura noticed that Ava is drinking this dragonberry juice, and she's like, "Oh yeah, Rick. Oh well, Rick always giving that to somebody. Because when I was at Lynn's house, he was over there." Laura, this snitching, this dry snitching. Mm. So, um, Ava, which I find so embarrassing. puts all of these clues together and realizes that Rick has been lying to her about his whereabouts.
Mhm.
Same time, we have Elizabeth kind of wondering out loud to Lucas if she's leading Rick on, and Christina talking to Cody, like, okay, this what you gonna do. Christina sends Cody back to Ava and was like, you need to let it slip that Lucky is back. Well, she said back in Africa. Lucky didn't go to Africa, so we've been a little racist for a second. But Lucky went to Lucky went to Europe. Actually, he specifically said he took Aiden to Amsterdam to Luke's old stomping grounds, and they were going to
Yeah.
Paris because Aiden wanted to bake, but Africa.
But
So do what y'all. So so yeah, so Christina was like, let it slip. So when Cody goes over there was something that fell through with like hanging art. Cody said he could
Mhm.
do it very flirty, and then like slips in that Lucky was gone out of town. I hate that Christina is right, but Christina's kind of cooking right now.
I mean, she's smart about this. I think she's thinking about, remembering the history of Ava and her brother. I
Yep,
mean, Ava does go after younger men, and
she
so
does.
she knew. So she's smart, and she's playing it very smart. Um, I guess. I don't like it either because I don't
Yeah.
like Cody.
I don't like Cody and I
So
don't like Christina, but Christina's cooking.
yeah.
Because Christina also kind of was like, I mean, she was the one who basically told Alexis, here's why we can't tell Elizabeth.
Hmm.
So Christina is scheming and she has learned very little, but this is the first time that we've seen in a long time that we've seen her kind of have some control, like some understanding, all of
Hmm.
that. So I think that's really fascinating.
Right.
And I do wonder if Elizabeth is going to find out about the blackmail or how that's going to go.
Yeah. She's not
Mm,
gonna like it on Rick's part.
no, of course
But yeah.
not. Steal it
So
from this baby. Because something else that this really came up to me is that everybody is either lying to Trina or around her, is either lying to her or betraying her. There's nobody in
right.
her life that's being honest with her.
Right.
And that job used to be Ava's job, but it's not even that anymore.
Mm, yeah.
A mess. Dante, Brooklyn, and Lulu. Oof. So we still don't really know exactly what Brooklyn is doing, but she did pull these birth certificates. So Rocco has the two. He has the one where he's been Westborn, where they have Britt actually on his
Yeah.
birth certificate, and then we have like his birth certificate with Dante and Lulu.
Hmm.
We then have Dante coming to Brooklyn to be like, we need to do something. Like, I'm mad at you and Chase, but we need to do something about this kid. And he kind of agreed to give him space. And then the next thing that we know, he's like trying
He's
to give him,
invited.
yeah,
Yeah, I thought that was
he's,
like weird.
he's trying
But
to
at
invite him
least
to like the symphony or whatever it is. But Gio's like, I
yeah,
don't play music anymore.
it's not my thing right now.
Yeah,
But at least he knew not to push because he said, I don't have to be the one to go to these concert series with you.
yeah,
If you want, just let me know. So at
yeah.
least he did take a little bit of step back, but he shouldn't have been, so quick with the offer in the first place.
In the first place,
So
right?
yeah, he's still kind of test the waters a little bit, trying to be nice. I think it would have been better if he went and he first apologize for his appalling behavior towards him
Right.
and then go in with let's hang out, whatever. But he's not doing that. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, because I think that like what Gio is seeing or like his feeling is really similar to what we said about Nina, which Nina doesn't
Hmm.
like Willow.
Right.
Nina hated Willow up until the moment she found out that was her daughter. And
Hmm.
obviously it's not as serious between Dante and Gio, but Dante's always apparently had a side eye for Gio, thought he was spoiled, thought like the worst of him,
Right.
thought less of him. And Gio
Yeah.
sees that. So it's like now all of a sudden that you know we share DNA, you want to be around. No, this is a problem.
Right. So that's why I mean, like, in order for it to be even real to Gio, he needs to own up to his past behavior and be
Right.
like, yeah, I've been judgmental towards you. I've, went off the handle with what happened with Rocco
Hmm.
unnecessarily.
Yep.
I know we've had a rocky start. Can we start over? That's all he has to do, but he hasn't done that.
He hasn't done that. I will
Yeah.
also say this that I think Dante, like, part of what frustrates me with this story is
Hmm.
that, there's nobody there that has like my political point of view. But this idea, like, Brooklyn did not lie. A
Hmm.
teenage girl putting her baby up for a closed adoption is not a lie. So like when Lulu and that, like, you lied to me, you lied to me. That's not what a lie is. She made
Hmm.
a decision for her body and for her baby. And Gloria and Lois like betrayed her. But
Hmm.
I can understand like some of the frustration. I can understand you being mad, but like it's not an example of like some lie, some treachery. And that it frustrates me that they keep looking at it that way. Because I think that part of what could have made the transition with Geo easier is to like sit down with him and be like, it wasn't that you were unwanted, it was that you were very loved and your mom made
Hmm.
this decision for you.
Right.
Like we need somebody in there to reframe what adoption is. And it's a little frustrating me on a show where we have so many non-traditional families that
Hmm.
we are not getting that perspective.
Hmm.
So that's like hard for me to watch.
I think, the best person who could probably do that, not necessarily talking about giving up a child, but talking about non-traditional family relationships would be Jason.
Mm.
Because
Or Luke or
Jason, or,
Lucas.
or Lucas, yeah, because Jason has literally adopted Michael and his kids,
Yeah.
and none of them are related to him. And so he can kind of
No,
talk
Jason and Michael
about,
are like are related.
yeah, I mean, by,
Yeah.
nephew or whatever. But at the same time, it's just different. He's not their parent. Um, but yeah, Lucas can talk about giving away a child or giving up a child.
And being
Um,
adopted himself.
and being adopted. Yeah. I don't think Gio's taking advantage of the many adoption folks that are in his circle. Maybe he doesn't know.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I don't even know if I think that he
Yeah.
should take advantage, but I would love for them to like talk to him or whatever it is.
Hmm.
It just has been like frustrating to watch this framing of
Yeah.
adoption as like you didn't want me, and
Right.
it not being like corrected because that's not
Right.
true.
Yeah.
Um, so anyway, we also see so Danny and Rocco, which such a funny duo, have started a new job at the Metro Court pool. They are so spoiled. They're like, what? We can't lounge? People can't reuse nasty towels? Boys are disgusting.
Well, the what?
Like, what are
They're like,
y'all
what am I?
talking about?
We're trying to save the environment.
So they
I was just like, it was just funny to me. Like they were, for background, so they're doing their summer jobs at the pool.
mhm.
And so one of the things that Danny was doing was serving drinks, and he had all the cups stacked up, and then he was pouring the drink in the first top cup. I'm like, why aren't you just separating the cups, dude? Why are you? That was just
And I
very
was like,
weird to
who's
me.
training y'all?
Gio, who's another young man who don't know.
Gio, who is like a lifeguard. I'm like, bro, did you ever get lifeguard training? Anyway, but Lulu comes to like creep on Rocco at his job to like look. And they have this situation where after the boys get off of work and they leave because they wanted to like swim at the pool, everybody's like, y'all got a pool and a lake at home. Go home. What we gonna do it? We have the situation where Gio and Lulu, like, there's some guy who hits on Lulu. I was like, oh, here we go. The return of everybody wanting Lulu, which is one of the things I hated about it when she was younger. Um, but he hits on her. Gio takes care of it. Apparently, he falls into the pool, but we don't get to see it. And they sit on the pool and they chat. And Brooklyn comes in and like sees her son having a moment with her eye. I I have an issue with Lulu doing this because if you know I don't mess with you, and Dante has asked you to stay away from Gia.
Oh yeah.
If you know that me and you don't vibe, don't try to talk to my son. Like, don't insert yourself into his life to try to have a relationship with him when I don't have a relationship with him. There's no reason for you to be doing this. It's one thing to be nice. It's one thing to like be cordial, but try to have little moments and like laugh. No, I don't like it.
Yeah, I don't like it either. And I still felt like she could have been one of those people to kind of better explain what the pain of giving up a child is when she was talking to Gio. I don't think she did a good enough job of that. And so now she's just like playing the cool aunt or the cool mom or whatever. And now Gio is more friendly with her than he is with any other, and it's really kind of shady. And that she's not doing enough. At the very least, she don't care about Brooklyn, but she should care about Dante and be like, hey, Dante is, he's
I
really
think she
has
should
some
do anything.
feelings. Well, I mean, in her mind, she justifies things for Dante. She's like, I do it
Hmm.
for Dante, I do it for Dante. She shouldn't like if she wanted to justify this relationship, she could be like, I'm doing this for you to help you get closer to your son. But she doesn't even have that. She's just, what she's doing is just really kind of crazy. Like, why is she trying to buddy up with a young man? She should be buddying up with adults.
I don't think she should even be doing it for Dante. I mean, just like for
Well,
me, give it.
I'm not saying that's what she should be doing, but in her mind, everything she does is about Dante. So she could
Yeah.
justify it to herself. She can't even justify this.
I just like
Yeah.
I've been watching a lot of
Yeah.
like older clips of Brooklyn and Lulu over the years, and because I
Hmm.
had forgotten about the rivalry and how bad it was. You know, when like Brooklyn had messed up on ELQ, like Brooklyn could or Lulu couldn't wait to report about it. Like it's just
Hmm.
all of these things where like if Brooklyn does something that's like kind of wrong or messes up, Lulu pounces. And so for
Right.
me, that's what makes so much of this adoption and like this whole story so gross. That it was, I mean, she's saying it was about Dante and finding whatever, but it really also is about you sticking it to Brooklyn. It really
Oh
is
yeah.
about the fact that y'all have never been in good relationship with each other. And so to me, it would be different if like Maxie was having this conversation with Gio. That would
Right.
feel different to me. But you, who one is beefing with Dante and he done told you to stay away from his son, and two, no, you don't have a relationship with Lou or with Brooklyn. It just feels foul. Now, I don't know what Brooklyn was trying to do. I don't think it was right to bring Rocco in it at all. Like, I don't
Right.
telling him that he's a weird embryo born baby thing. I don't know what I don't that's
Yeah.
not even to me. That's not getting even to me at all. Um and so we get to the house, and Jason and Dante have this moment around fatherhood. They sit down and talk to Danny and Rocco. They tell them to go clean up. They find Brooklyn's stuff, and they find the birth certificate and things that she's looking at. For me, this is an example of the show not being able to fully commit.
Mhm.
because they wanted to like have this moment, but they don't want anybody, they want people's stands to be able to say that it isn't that bad. That Brooklyn was like thinking about it, but she didn't do it, it was found. So really she's not that bad. Or Lulu wasn't that bad because she was doing it for Dante, as opposed to like just letting people be villainous and lean into that because it's how the audience is gonna treat them anyway. If you don't like Brooklyn, you're not gonna have any grace for her to be like, oh well, she didn't. No, you're gonna be like, it was her fault for pulling the birth certificate and leaving it out. So let's get nasty if we get nasty. Like, and that also is what makes Drew so out of pocket because nobody else is doing these kind of things. Everybody else has a reason, excuse, whatever. And with Drew, he's just bad. So do you have I was breaking, I was melting down on that. Do you have any thoughts on that?
Oh, you're right. It's I'm just really curious about how this, what would end up actually bringing Brett or the actress who played Brett back into character. I'm really
Oh,
curious
yeah, I don't
back
know.
into campus because this is happening so much sooner than she's actually arriving. So I'm curious how it's all gonna
Yeah,
run together.
we shall see. We shall
Yeah.
see. Um, Daisy's christening. So Daisy is having her christening. It's a big event, with our Scorpio, Corinthos, Quartermaine, Spencer baby. And apparently somebody is like also stalking Sasha. So there's like somebody turns on the mobile that was weird. And there was another thing where Sasha like puts baby Daisy down in like a yellow outfit and she's turned one way. She comes back and she's in a pink outfit and turned the other way. These people are rich. I understand it for the plot. Get first of all, why is this baby in the room by themselves?
Right. That's a lot of people are saying. Like, why is she
And,
leaving the baby by
and
herself?
also get a video monitor.
Right.
Y'all are rich. First, get a nanny. What is going on here?
Well, I
Anyway,
mean, everyone just thinks it's weird that Sasha is in that house and yet doesn't want Michael, the
it's so
baby's
silly.
dad.
It's so
Uh,
silly.
so
But we have that. Obviously, the kids are wondering why their mom's not going to be there. Michael's other babies.
mhm.
Um, Jason is going to be the godfather, which we found out a few weeks ago. We find out that Christina is the god, or Christina. Looking at thinking about
Felicia.
Christina Wagner.
Yeah.
Felicia is the godmother.
Mhm.
Michael has to explain to Jocelyn why she's not the godparent. Jocelyn's like, I'm good.
It's like I can
I'm
see
out
it.
here spying, brother. So,
Right.
um, and yeah, I mean, we find out that Sasha is talking to Robert pretty regularly on the phone, not so much to Holly. Yeah. But we do know that somebody's trying to drive her crazy about the baby. Um, so they get to the christening. On the flip side, how do you feel about Sunny and this DA? I was like, I'm tired of Sunny and these dark-haired DAs and cops and feds.
Hey, it's a story. It's a story. I mean, I think it's interesting that this DA is the actual Sidwell's wife in real life. I think that's
Yeah,
interesting.
yeah, yeah.
But whatever. I'm not bothered by it, but I'm also not all that interested in it either. So
hmm
it's like
As the children would say, it's reheated nachos. This is what I've learned on Twitter from the children. Uh,
reheated nachos.
I don't know. I'm old. I don't know what that
Ah,
is. But
ah.
apparently, this is what this is. That the DA is like reheating Brenda's nachos.
Mhm. Okay.
Don't worry. Don't quote us, y'all. On that one. But kind of so we got obviously this DA is like trying to hold Natalia over Sunny.
Mhm.
Natalia, babes, is delulu. I don't know
Right.
what's going on. I had to go back and watch some scenes. So Natalia goes to tell Marco, goodbye, essentially. Marco's really mad. He thinks that he's gonna kill her. She also tells Brooklyn that about this like weird deception money, which is apparently like an accounting error from Sunny. And I'm just like, can't he just take his money back and just move it back? I don't know. It, also, like,
She
fire your
even said
accountant,
that.
Sunny.
Yeah, she even said that. She can like you can just tell Sunny to take the money back, and that's
But
what
they
she
want
said.
him to publicly divest, not to give any more money, not to like,
Right.
yeah.
Oh yeah.
Um, And then what else with that? Oh, so Sunny apparently sends like a baseball glove to the DA. So she comes to his house and is like mad about it. So all of this is happening around the christening. So it kind of reminds me of when Josh got christened, because we did have that like walk down memory lane from Jason and Carly. Because you remember
Mm-hmm.
when Jocelyn got christened, that's when Sunny shot Dante in the chest. That was the cover up.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, yeah, we have all of these things happening around the christening, but apparently Natalia, who's supposed to be going to Fiji, thinks that Sunny is going with her. Sunny never said that.
Right.
He like was like, I'll, maybe visit you, like maybe, but there was no reason that she would have thought that Sunny would miss a family gathering to get on a plane to fly to Fiji with her.
Well, and it's even if like he moved up the time that she was supposed to leave, like it's she was supposed to leave in the evening, and that in her mind he was going to go with her. Um, but there's no reason for her to believe any of that he was going to go with her, whether or not they moved up the time that she's leaving or not. He never actually said, "I'm going to this country with you." He said, "I
Yeah.
will be in touch with you. I will make sure you're okay and taken care of. I got all this stuff care of for you. I got you a house and you're gonna have money, blah blah blah. You're gonna be fine." He never said we are gonna go and do this. And so
Never.
in her mind, she's like, he's coming with me. I'm like, why would he do that? And so and the fact that she's so upset about it is crazy because like he's like, you have to get a new life. You're gonna have to start all over. You're gonna have a new identity. So in my mind, I'm thinking, okay, so I'm gonna be on my own and I'm gonna have a new life. Why would she think that Sunny's gonna do that with her? That's only going to catch attention to her being out of the country. It's only gonna be a red flag. So why would she think that he's gonna do that with her? And why was she being so upset about it? If he's like,
Yeah.
I'm gonna move up your flight, I would be like, okay, well, I said goodbye to everybody, so let me just go. No, now she's upset. And if Sonny wasn't going to kill her before, he's certainly going to do it now that she acted
Well,
a fool.
I think Sidwell's gonna do it and set him up. But
Probably.
he she like shows up to baby Daisy's christening. Girl, this is crazy. What's
Yeah.
happening here? I
Yeah.
mean, I never liked Natalia. I never thought I did a good job with that character, but she's going out sad, sad. This is a
Right.
mess.
Mm-hmm.
And it also is like, she's like, oh, I'll start over. You don't have any friends or family now. Your kids don't
Right.
talk to you. You seem to not have any friends. Like, even when she was talking to Brooklyn came to her hotel, she was drinking. Brooklyn kept looking down at that glass like, girl, what? So I that was the most confusing thing I ever seen. I was like, why in the world was Natalia think the Sunny was coming with her? I don't get it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't
She drinking.
know. She She is drinking. So we are
Yeah.
seeing like a convergence of these stories. Carly did bring up that we don't know who made the two attempts on Sunny's life. She wondered if it was Sidwell out loud. So,
Mm-hmm.
we have these things happening that I find to be interesting little, it's happening together. Let's do it. So hopefully we see more from this story. I haven't read the previews yet, so when we read them, this will be the first time that I've read them.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, that's the week. Do you have anything else?
I did have an odd little detail that I kept looking at, which probably
Yes.
isn't that odd, but it was just something that I paid attention to. And so it's basically about GH and its fruit. So Lucy Lucy brings a bunch of oranges to Sunny, and they look like
Yeah.
grapefruit. They look like grapefruit to me. Huge. And then
Cool.
on Friday, Sasha's in the kitchen talking to Cody, and I see these apples, and they're huge. I'm like, GH and their fruit. I don't know what it is,
Yeah,
but
somebody's eating that fruit and they like they don't let that fruit go to waste.
right, they're not. So I just thought it was interesting. What else did I
That's
write?
funny.
Eh, I talked about that. I just thought, well, I just also noticed that, GH was doing a lot of callback to history, which I thought
Hmm.
was really nice. So like when Michael and Carly also were talking, she was just like, and he was saying that, I think I have to take the kids away from her. And Carly was like, yeah, I know what you're going through. This is something I felt about AJ. And she was like, just a reminder, you didn't thank me for that. So I thought
Right.
that was a good reminder and callback. Yeah. So those are my thoughts.
Ooh, AJ, you would have hated Drew.
Yeah. Oh man. That's like at first people were thinking that Drew was trying to be another AJ, but Drew is just Drew. AJ
Yeah.
had drinking.
I mean, it's still
Mm.
weird because they never gave us like the real understanding of what was going on with Drew's memories, and so
Uh-huh.
Drew still has my Jason's memories. No way he would like betray Michael. This is wild.
It is. It's really wild. Ugh. And sickening if you
Yeah,
think about it
and
that way.
it's also like this is the story, at least not necessarily the Willow piece, but the like Quartermaine piece is like
Hmm.
the story that they should have given, not should have given, that would have made sense when they did like the Jason Drew switch.
Hmm.
Now it's like, what are we talking about? Drew's always accepted by the Quartermaines. His son was accepted by the Quartermaines. Oscar died at the house. Like, this
Yeah.
is weird.
Just this about face personality is just really
Yeah,
crazy.
not a fan. All right,
Mm.
next week, Monday, an uninvited guest crashes Daisy's christening. Chase and Brooklyn make a pact. Lucas encourages Marco. Oh yeah, because Marco was going to turn his mommy, and Lucas said, "Hold up, only person
Don't.
snitching this week is Kai."
Right. Which is sad.
Christina finds herself in a dangerous situation. Anna faces off with ADA Turner.
Mm.
Tuesday, Anna and Chase rush to the scene of a crime. Oh, I wonder if Sidwell's going to do something and Christina's going to get in danger. Ooh, Daisy, what's her name going to say? Daisy from Michael. She would be like, we out of here. Anyway, Alexis pays a visit to Sidwell. Michael opens up to Sasha.
Mm.
Brennan sets boundaries with Jocelyn. Molly is relieved. Wednesday, Sunny vows revenge.
Mm.
Geo opens up to Emma. Lucas voices his fears. Tracy does some scheming. Joss makes a revelation.
Mm.
Thursday, Dante seeks out Jason. Trina warns Kai. Michael is disturbed. Maxie makes a discovery. Lulu advises Laura. And Friday is the 4th, and that is a rerun.
All right.
Well, if you made it to the end, thanks for rocking with us. Make sure to like, share, subscribe, comment, tell a friend about us. You can text us now. So we'll text that out next week and see what that looks like if you text us. You can buy us a coffee. That link is in the description, as well as this amazing merch coming from Tanya Shutt. all the way to my cup. So we will see you next week.
Okay.
Bye.